Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump. We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
Well, we love it.
Okay, so I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, yeah, but
not to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, so, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much. On the other hand, you know, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that the...
not really. They were very comfortable.
Well, we won't review all that. Do you think that the country, that would bother anybody?
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
whether
crazy.
It's OPEC, which is, I mean, they're having a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
Why?
So then they change their minds also.
But you didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question. I really think
it won't matter?
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
If you,
When we have, Barbara, when we have France leading the charge, okay? France, this is our new leader. By the way, they led for about 2 hours. After that, nobody's seen them. I don't know if you know that or not.
geographically, so they should.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that.
Their lead is the point.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that. Let's say you run. You've given a lot of thought for this. Who would you like as your vice president? Possibly Sarah Palin?
Well, I think it's far too early even to discuss that. I'm going to make a decision sometime prior to June. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. You know, it's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why aren't they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart. It's a business, but it's also a business with heart. We will destroy this country. It won't be a war if the economics of this country keep going the way they're going. We're not going to have a country.
You're kind of a social liberal, Donald. You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
Well, every poll is saying that I'm the one that does the best. They're doing polls.
They actually have you a higher approval rating than Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty, John Boehner.
Well,
but out of those, if you're thinking of competition within the party to get the nomination, really your biggest competition will be, should you get the nomination, President Obama.
Well, I was the only one. A CNN poll just came out, as you probably saw, and I was the only one that was essentially tied with Obama. Everyone was 10 and 15 points down. So, you know, we'll see. I haven't made a decision. I'll be making a decision, and I will do a good job if I decide yes and if I win.
Okay.
I just was wondering, because you were talking about how all these countries have been doing this. You would admit that this has sort of been business as usual for the last 30 years. I mean, we have. So this is not because it's nothing new. This has been going on. So you're saying you would come in and stop that practice?
But it's never been as bad as it is now. We've never had $1.6 trillion in deficits.
It was as bad when George Bush left office. So he was the one who left this.
You're right.
Who left this.
Excuse me. I'm a Republican. George Bush, he gave us Obama. I'm not a big fan of George Bush. I'm not a fan of Obamacare.
Let's not talk about
I know, Whoopi, because I don't think I'm going to get Whoopi's vote.
If you did, let me just says if you did beat...
And she likes me. She even put me in her movies.
I was just going to say.
She put me in her movies, right? A long time ago. And how much should I charge? Nothing.
Like they say in the
It was a freebie.
If you did beat Obama, though,
It's just
would you say
business,
you're
Donald.
fired to him if you did beat him in the general election?
I don't want to trivialize it. You know, we have this show that turned out to be such a success, and maybe that's why I'm sitting here partially, because people have gotten to know me.
They respect
But
it.
what about this? You recently said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange. What are you driving at there? Are you a Bertha, Donald?
Okay, let me just tell you. I was a really good student at the best school. I'm not like a smart guy, okay? They make these birthers into the worst idiots. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? I think he probably...
have to?
Because I have to, and everybody else has to. Whoopi.
I'm sure
Why
that you
wouldn't
can't
he show...
his birth
Excuse me.
certificate.
Why? No, excuse me. I really believe there's a birth certificate. Why? Look, she's smiling. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. The other thing, if you go back to my first grade, my kindergarten, people remember me. Nobody from those early years.
That's not true.
We have pictures of him. What are you talking about?
Okay, show me a picture.
There are kids in
show
Hawaii.
me a
There are
picture
people
as
in
young.
Hawaii.
I've
There are
seen
people that he's
14-year-old,
grown
I've
up.
seen 13,
No,
but
as
I
little
haven't seen
kids.
early pictures. But more importantly, why doesn't he? And you know what? I think he probably was, but the word probably would be.
Why should he have to defend himself against?
You know why?
Against an accusation.
Because if you're going to be the president,
that there is this stuff.
because if you're going to be the president of the United States, it says very profoundly that you have to be born in this country.
But did any other president do that? Did George Bush
cannot be the president?
The question is, why would he want this
You know what
hanging
I
over
say?
him if it's
Probably
true?
he was.
No one has ever asked George Bush or said to George Bush,
Nobody
I'm
asked
sorry, is
Ronald
Hawaii
Reagan?
not part of the
I'll
United
guarantee you,
States?
George Bush. And I'm not saying I was a fan of George Bush.
No.
You know that better than anybody.
But why-
But George Bush was born in this country. That's right.
What is isn't Hawaii still part of the United States?
question?
Am I gone?
You
Do
know,
you
you know
question
what?
whether he was or not because he hasn't come forward with a
I grew up in New York. Wall Street was a big part. I have seen fraud, and I have seen scandal, and I have seen things that a lot of people don't see. I've seen people take a $100 bill and make it a $1 million bill.
We're going to have to pause. Get to the point.
Okay, the point is, I can't rely on some newspaper that they show
In
that...
order to become president of the United States, in order to
I
get
want
a
him to
driver's
show his
license, in
birth
order to-
certificate. I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on
Okay,
that
why
birth
not, I guess.
certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
that's a terrible
That is
thing to
just
say.
the
Whoopi, I'm
worst
telling
thing.
you.
He was 3 pounds
Whoopi, I love you. I'm
Donald,
telling
I love
you.
you too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
The question is then why not show it, right?
There's something on his birth certificate he doesn't want to show.
It's not because he's black.
Let
It's time
him
you
show
were born,
has
what color
nothing to
you
do with it.
are.
By the way,
Because I've
has
never heard
nothing
Any
to do
white
with it.
president asked to be shown the birth certificate.
Everybody does.
When you become a president of the United States of America,
Okay, listen.
you know that he's
let him
American.
show
I'm
his
sorry,
birth
that's
certificate.
Are you
BS.
saying that it just only
Guys,
lets people have doubt
do you
and
want to talk
it
at all
shouldn't be
about The
there?
Apprentice?
Doesn't matter. It's doing great.
Good,
The
then we
ratings are
won't
through the roof.
fine.
This is more interesting.
Then we'll go. But we have to pause. We'll have more of this when we come back. Well, we very rarely do this, and it may be setting a bad precedent, but we love him so. We've asked Donald Trump to stay for the second segment. Real fast, could you beat Obama?
I think if I run and win and get the nomination, I definitely think I could beat Obama. We're doing very, very poorly as a country. I think I could beat him.
Answer
Okay.
is yes, you do. Okay.
I want to change it up.
Or I wouldn't run.
Right.
If you didn't think. All right, we're going to change it a little bit and go to Celebrity Apprentice. You got a crazy cast this season, Donald. I'm going to start with one of the people. You do. Okay, Gary Busey. Tell us about Gary Busey. He just seems a little, woo.
Yeah, he is. I'll tell you, he's great. He's an amazing character, but he's a total genius, but he's nuts. So it's a combination.
A genius at what?
He comes up with thoughts and comes up with statements. And
Everything is he's got initials for everything.
oh, it's
It's,
amazing.
you know,
He'll come up with a word, and then he'll have 15 words behind it. He really is. He's a brilliant guy, but he's got some big issues.
What about the emotion there? Because Meatloaf, I never knew there was so much emotion there.
my God.
What do you think of
Meatloaf is a big
Ryan?
surprise to me because he's this tough, big, strong guy. He weighs 270 pounds, and every time I talk to him, he starts crying.
Do you get emotional like that?
You don't like that.
Because you, like Speaker
Well,
John
I said
Boehner.
I don't like that. I mean, I respect respect John Boehner, but I don't want a person that cries.
You're very tender with Meatloaf, Don.
No, I think Meatloaf is fantastic.
last time
And I
you
think
cried?
John Boehner's fantastic. Last time I cried?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which divorce
make
was
you
it?
I don't
Come on.
want. You know what? There's nothing wrong with crying. I don't want to make like, oh, big. I'm some big tough guy. There's nothing wrong with crying. I'm just not a big.
Ivanka's having a baby.
She's having a baby.
Maybe you'll cry then
That's
when
right.
that.
What about the women on the show?
Well, I'll
because
tell you-
Dionne Warwick is getting
Nene
Dionne Warwick
and Nene, yeah.
gets beat
And
up so badly.
Yeah.
Dion's look crabby.
Dionne is tougher than people think, but she gets beat up. But I'll tell you who gets beat up more than anybody I've ever seen in the history of reality television. Your very close friend, Star Jones.
Why?
She gets. Well, Nene is tough, and so
Nene
is
is
Star.
from the Atlanta Housewives.
So is
if you
Star.
don't know.
They go at each other. It's unbelievable. You know, they're both smart. They're both tough. But Nene is a very big woman, and you know, physically, just a really
She's
big,
tall,
powerful
yeah,
woman.
she's tall.
And she is very intimidating. You have to see what happens.
they was on the same
Star,
level, right?
Mark my words. Star. No, not in terms of size or intelligence.
No, in terms of you know that they can personality-wise.
Personality-wise, they're both great. I will tell you, it's the greatest thing I've. It makes Omarosa. Remember Omarosa?
Yes,
it makes Omarosa like a very kind, sweet woman.
This week, right.
This for the next 4 weeks, actually. It goes on for a period of time, but this
love
week,
this.
I love it.
You love it.
I do
So we
love
should
it.
watch it, but I really want to get to this the roast that was on Comedy Central.
Wow. Watch
This
that.
roast, Donald was so raunchy, and you're not known for being raunchy. I mean, you had Snoop on stage, you know, smoking.
You were a good
It was a
sport,
lot of
too.
sexual humor. How in the world did you? It was for charity,
And
but
how were the ratings?
it was the best ratings they ever got.
Okay.
It was the
So
highest that they
I
ever
have to
got.
explain this. I have to explain. I did it for a very specific. I would never have done it in a million years because I've seen the roast. They're brutal, and this was more brutal than any of them. I did it because they paid me a lot of money, and I gave it all to charity. So I said to myself, "Am I going to sit there for an hour and be just horribly abused, and then go home and hand a lot of money to different AIDS research and lots of great charities, or am I going to sit home, watch television, and not give anything?" And I decided to sit. And I was actually happy with it. I was happy with how well it did. You know, it was their most successful show.
What do you
but
think
come
about
on,
the situation
Tell
there?
me, how did it feel like when they really attack you and they do a hair
Well, they
joke?
really
on
are.
your
daughter was in
the
the
hair I'm
audience.
used to. Excuse me, you attack my hair all the time. I got used to. You were
I
worse
stopped.
than they were.
I stopped.
No, you were worse than they
Do you
were.
mind when people attack your hair?
No.
Is there any? Is
And
there
you know what,
anything-
Barbara? You know what? Look,
It's real.
It's really mine. You
Is
know,
there
it's like
anything? Go, baby. We've gone through a few things together over the years.
she is very sexy. I want to tell you.
He knows how to get to me. Is there
your daughter
anything?
was
Is
in
there
the
anything
audience.
that you are insecure about?
That you want to say on TV.
I don't want to say. You know, I probably do. I don't want to give it up. Let somebody figure it out someday.
That's right.
Right?
Don't tell them.
I hate.
Don't
you know,
give ammunition to
on
the
television,
enemy.
the reason we don't have the big stars like they used to with Clark Gable and all, you know, Clark Gable didn't go on like your show and say, I'm an alcoholic, I'm this. Now they get on, they cry, they're alcoholics, they're this, they're drug addicts, and you say, they're just like everyone else. So if I do have an insecurity, I'm not talking.
Listen, Donald, so far, there's nothing you haven't been successful at. You're a great character. You're a great friend of ours. We don't know whether you should be president, but we do know that you will enjoy watching.
But you do admit
The
I'd be a great
Apprentice.
president.
You have possibilities.
Barbara, don't blow it.
So, the Celebrity
very
Apprentice.
optimistic.
The Celebrity
Absolutely.
Apprentice. You want to say something else besides that? No.
But I don't think you're a real Republican. I
No,
think
I'm a
you're-
real Republican.
I think you're.
The Apprentice is Sunday nights.
With heart.
Check your local listings. He's always wonderful to watch. We'll be right back.